Imagine looking into the vastness of space and realizing that what you thought was only a planet's stormy surface or a blur of gas clouds was hiding something much larger. Something constructed, something unnatural, and what if I told you that? NASA's latest data has revealed exactly that: an enormous structure. A colossal space station silently orbiting around Jupiter, a discovery so shocking that the first team of analysts who examined the images refused to believe what they were seeing, brushing it off as a glitch, an artifact of digital processing. But the more the images were studied, the clearer the outline became: a structure too precise, too symmetrical to be nature's random creation. And though NASA has not made this public in full detail, insiders whisper that what has been captured is not a moon fragment, not a drifting asteroid, but an artificial body, enormous in size, circling the largest planet in our solar system as though it had been waiting, watching, hidden in plain sight behind Jupiter's thick storms. And the first clue came not from the naked eye but from subtle anomalies, signals picked up by probes passing near the gas giant, slight radio disturbances, pulses repeating in rhythmic cycles, too organized to be static interference. And when data from Juno, the spacecraft orbiting Jupiter, was cross-checked with old Hubble archives, strange reflections were noticed. Flickers of sunlight bouncing off metallic surfaces that could not belong to any natural rock or ice, reflections shaped like panels, angles, and vast rotating arms. And the terrifying part is not only the size of this supposed station, which some estimate could be hundreds of miles across, dwarfing anything humanity has ever built, but its location. Because Jupiter is not just any planet, it is a giant with immense gravitational pull, a perfect hiding place where natural storms can mask signals and where distance from Earth keeps curious eyes away. But now that the truth is slipping through, the question burns: who built it and how long has it been there? Because some scientists argue that if the station had always been present, ancient astronomers might have caught glimpses, yet no records exist. No ancient star maps mention a mysterious companion near Jupiter, which means it may have arrived more recently. Perhaps in the last century, perhaps in the last decade, perhaps even in silence while humanity was busy looking elsewhere. And when NASA's internal investigation deepened, they uncovered patterns in the pulses echoing from the station, cycles repeating in sequences that mimic language, almost like a code. And though officially labeled as electromagnetic noise, certain linguists and cryptographers brought in secretly to analyze the data have confirmed that the sequences show structure, the kind of structure only intelligence can create, as though the station is not only orbiting but broadcasting, speaking, waiting to be heard. And this raises the most haunting question of all: if there is a station orbiting Jupiter, then who is inside it, or was inside it? Because the scale suggests more than just a satellite. It suggests habitation, corridors, chambers, possibly entire ecosystems within, a self-sustaining fortress in the shadow of the gas giant. And though we are trained to think of aliens as fiction, the raw images captured by Juno do not lie, showing sharp linear edges, shadows that shift unnaturally compared to the planet's rotation, panels that reflect sunlight like polished mirrors. And as engineers studied the shape, some dared to whisper that the design looked purposeful, like the skeleton of a city turned inside out, a massive ringed station with towers and spires reaching into the void. And what makes it more chilling is that it does not appear abandoned, for certain panels flicker with energy, faint glows seen in infrared, suggesting power still flows through its veins, suggesting activity. And if it is active, then someone or something is operating it. And NASA's greatest fear is not only what it means for our understanding of the universe, but what it means for Earth. Because if there is a civilization advanced enough to build such a structure and place it around Jupiter, then they have been here far longer than we suspected. And they have been close, far too close, silently observing from the edge of our celestial neighborhood. And one possibility that terrifies scientists most is that this station may not be alien at all, at least not in the sense we think, but perhaps connected to us, to something older, something ancient, a remnant of a civilization lost to time. A civilization that may have once existed within our own solar system, and the evidence for this is stranger still, because carved into the patterns of radiation bouncing off Jupiter's magnetic field are echoes that resemble mathematical ratios. Known to humanity, Fibonacci sequences, prime numbers, alignments that hint not only at intelligence but at shared logic, as though whoever built this station speaks in the same universal language of mathematics that we do. And if that is true, then we are not only not alone, but we may be latecomers, children rediscovering a playground abandoned by its original builders, yet never truly empty, because something remains, something is still there, orbiting silently, hiding in the shadow of a planet that dwarfs all others. And when NASA's secret committee reviewed the findings, panic filled the room, not excitement but fear, because this discovery is not about distant stars, not about galaxies far away, it is here, in our system, in our backyard, undeniable. And if revealed, it could shatter the very foundation of human belief, science, religion, history, and so for now the story is kept hidden, shared only in fragments, disguised as harmless anomalies in scientific reports, but the truth is out. There, faint but undeniable, that NASA has indeed captured glimpses of a giant space station orbiting Jupiter. And the closer the investigation goes, the more disturbing the details become, as whispers of strange shadows moving along its surface appear in infrared scans. Shadows too fast, too organized, like ships darting from one section to another, as if the station is not only alive with power but alive with inhabitants. And though no one dares to speak this openly, behind closed doors the fear grows, fear that we are not the first intelligent species in this solar system, fear that we are being watched, studied, perhaps even judged, and every signal captured, every flicker recorded, every shadow traced only deepens the terrifying mystery. And now as I share this with you, you must understand that what lies around Jupiter is not an empty shell, not a broken ruin, but something still active, still waiting, and this story, like all mysteries, is only beginning, for the last word NASA used to mark its most recent secret transmission about the station was simply awakening. Yes, that was the word written in the confidential notes, and it was not chosen lightly, for when NASA's hidden monitoring systems tracked the strange station orbiting Jupiter, they detected something new, something that had never been recorded before. Faint bursts of light igniting along the edges of the enormous structure, like windows in a sleeping city suddenly glowing to life after centuries of silence. And at first, the scientists hoped it was just a reflection from the sun or a trick of radiation bouncing off Jupiter's clouds. But the rhythm was too steady, the timing too intentional, and as hours passed, the faint glows turned into a steady hum of energy that their instruments could no longer deny. A sign that the structure was not just drifting, not just abandoned, but indeed alive, powered, and perhaps responding to something, maybe even to us, because the timing of its reactivation curiously aligned with the Juno probe's closest approach. As though the arrival of our machine had triggered a signal, like a key unlocking a door that had been sealed for ages, and that realization chilled the scientists to their core, for if this station had been waiting in silence, then what exactly had it been waiting for? And why did it choose now to stir? And though panic rippled through the private meetings, the public announcements remained calm, speaking only of routine findings in Jupiter's magnetic field, while behind closed doors, the truth began to terrify even the most rational minds. Because the awakening did not stop with lights, it escalated, as new energy signatures surged through the station's vast body. patterns of power moving across its structure like veins filling with blood. And soon NASA recorded strange radio emissions, bursts of frequencies that spiked through their receivers, carrying not random noise but organized complexity, structured. Waves that rose and fell like sentences in a language we could not yet understand. And the worst part was the direction, for those signals were not only broadcasting into deep space but also bouncing back. As though whoever or whatever controlled that station had now noticed us, had turned its attention across millions of miles, and was speaking directly at our fragile planet, and the debate inside NASA became desperate should they try to respond. Should they risk sending a signal back, or should they remain silent, hoping the station would ignore us? But ignoring was no longer an option, for soon telescopes across the world, even amateur ones, began to catch faint glimmers around Jupiter that should not exist. Strange shadows moving in coordinated arcs, like smaller crafts detaching from a station and gliding briefly through the void before returning to it, movements too precise, too deliberate to be mere debris, and whispers began to leak, first among astronomy forums, then into the darker corners of the internet, people asking if NASA was hiding something extraordinary,